Hello and welcome to week 3 of the Singer A Division Schools. This is the score update and a roundup of all the action that we saw over the last week. Sorry it's a little bit late, but better late than never is what we thought here at the score. The first match that we have to review for you, of course, is one between two hard-running teams, Dharmaraja versus Science College. It came down to the final minute actually in that game. 21 points to 20, Dharmaraja running out winners, maintaining their unbeaten tag in the third week. Science College coming close, suffering injuries to some key players. Richard Dharmapala as well was not at his best in this game, but unfortunately for Science College, just 1 point the difference between victory and defeat in this. This would have been a huge scalp for them. They've been flattering to deceive throughout this season, but it was really a good game with Dharmaraja scoring 2 tries and also Science College scoring 2 tries. So that means that they were pretty evenly matched. Just a few differences in the kicking, and that's where Science College really need to make a little bit of a difference. Their kicker, Chatura Gomez, has not been up to standard this season, and that's costing them quite a few points. The second match that we had for you was Wesley versus St. Joseph's, and this was expected to be a good game between two big sets of forwards, two hard-running sets of forwards as well. Jason Melde expected to make a difference with his size and ball-carrying skill in this match, but unfortunately that was not to be for the Josephians. Wesley College winning that one comfortably by 38 points to 24. They did make a good start in the first half. They managed to do a little bit of damage in the first half, but not really as much as they would have liked, and that's something that they will need to look at going forward in the season as well. Are they able to sustain the pace at which they like to play the game? It's a great philosophy to keep the ball in hand, but the pace they like to play, can they sustain that for 80 minutes? Can they sustain that for over 9-10 weeks of the season? The next big match we had, of course, the one that I was at, that we showed you live on the score, was St. Peter's versus Royal College. That was a very interesting game, because as much as St. Peter's had the ball, as much as Anuradha Trera tried to break down the Royal defensive line, the Royal centres were up brilliantly in defence, and I thought that was a really outstanding bit of work that they did. Also the Royal number 7, can't remember his name, sorry mate, but the fact is that he was up very quickly as well and stopping Anuradha in his tracks before he was able to gain too much from the back of the scrum. And unfortunately for St. Peter's, when Anuradha doesn't gain that ground, then that set piece flounders. They're supposed to go back, and their forwards, I'm afraid to say, are not as good as they need to be at the breakdown, especially when they have to run backwards and try and retrieve the ball. So an outstanding defensive performance by the Royalists, except of course for their winger, who conceded a couple of tries on the left wing. Bounced the ball, brilliant for Shane Direx. He caught it and scampered all the way about 60 meters under the post to score a try that really broke the backs of the Royalists, who managed to get into an early lead. Rimzi Jamaldeen was playing a very, very agile game, so to say, because he knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he was able to shift things as well as the game went along. So very intelligent player, and he's orchestrating things for Royal College. He's shifting to number 3 in the line in defense, and that means he's shifting to outside center, so he's leading that defensive line as well, which meant that Devin and Azmat for Royal, the guys who were actually playing in the centers, had a little bit less to do and were doing it very intelligently. So managing to break down that combination of Pereira and Jerome in the midfield for St. Peter. So that was where the game was almost won and lost, but Royal managing to come, despite being odds-on underdogs there, they managed to come back and draw the game at 19 points all with about 3 minutes to go. And that's when Rimzi, who had been playing so well for the entire game, just had a rush of blood to the head, tried to run a restart instead of kicking it and clearing it to touch, and being happy with the draw because they were the underdog team. They were looking for a positive result, and this would have been a positive result for them. But St. Peter's quick on that as well, and they conceded a penalty. Royal conceded a penalty, and Anuradha Hera took the shot before Royal knew what they were doing, and he went in under the post, about a 40-meter run that he did to win the game for St. Peter's. They scored another try as well, but that game was won by that time. So a very good result for St. Peter's, 31 points to 19. The scoreboard doesn't really say how close the game was, and we're seeing a resurgent Royal side after that loss to Science College in the first week of the season. They're coming back, and they're coming back strong. So watch out for them to finish strong, maybe even finish as high as 3rd in this Singer A Division League. We also had another big game between Trinity College and Kingswood College, and that was up in Kandy. Of course, Kingswood coming closer than most people expected them to, and this is where Trinity really need to take a leaf out of the other schools' books, especially Dharmaraj. They can't afford to take any game lightly, and I think that's where they conceded too many points. They conceded 2 tries and 3 penalties to Kingswood, who managed to score 21 points against a 38 for Trinity. So it was the fact that they're scoring tries and they're scoring points, Trinity, is not a problem at all. But what they are having a problem with is the fact that they're also conceding points at the other end, and that doesn't augur well for a champion side. So that's something that they need to look at. That's something their coaches need to organize. And the midfield defense is something that really has been a little bit of a problem for the Trinitians. They're using several combinations. They use Girahagama in the middle alongside Dureka Aluvihara. Now they've shifted Shanchanishi to that position as well, and they're looking at some other options. Hadunge also is a player that they're using in the middle there. So quite a few combinations that they're trying, and that's something that they need to settle on defensively and get their structure in defense organized a little bit before they embark on the big matches against some of the big schools that are coming up. We also had St. Anthony's versus Isipatana College, and unfortunately for Isipatana, reigning champions from last year, the defending champions, they have suffered as many defeats as games they have played. So that's something that Shamli Nawaz and the rest of his team really have to look at. They really have to look into this problem. Shamli says they're training well, they're just not playing well, and he's at a loss to understand what's happening when these players don the green jersey and get onto the field. So St. Anthony's picking up their first win by 32 points to 22 in the third week of the tournament. Now we move on to the fourth week. Of course, it was the hour of the weekend, so we'll go into that match as well. And we had St. Thomas's taking on Trinity for the Canon RS Desaram Trophy, a much anticipated game, of course, for the Thomians in particular, because they've been out of A Division rugby for a long time, coming back to play against the A Division unbeaten team and test their mettle, see exactly where they stood when compared to the rest of the A Division teams. And it was really a very intense outing for the Thomians. Trinity, I thought, took it a little bit too easy coming into the game. They rested 2 of their key players, Naresh Pereira and Ashan Pereira, at 8 and 9. They brought in Alahakon, they brought in Vidhi Mahali as well. Both guys had decent games, but somehow didn't have that X factor to allow Tarindra Ratwat to set those threes in motion and really put pressure on St. Thomas's. St. Thomas's didn't allow Trinity to play well at all in this game. Havelock Park was awash with blue and black, and the fact is that it was so because St. Thomas's played just some outstanding rugby. We had Naya Jirasinghe in in the number 12 jersey, and Hasaka also in the number 13 jersey. That midfield duo was just outstanding. Javath at fullback was running some brilliant lines, a Christian Cullen-like game that he had, and Devin Jayasinghe was the kingpin, the fulcrum upon which that entire Thomian team turned. And he put in some brilliant performance with his boot, both out of hand and also in place kicking. He had 19 points out of the 29 that was scored by St. Thomas's in beating Trinity comprehensively by 29 points to 15. So that's how that one finished. And the Canon RS Desaram Trophy comes back to St. Thomas's after a lapse of a couple of years, and that's after they had suffered some very heavy defeats by 70-point margins, 50-point margins at the hand of a very good Trinity side. And where the Thomians are really happy is that they managed to beat a good side, not an average Trinity side, but they beat a very good Trinity side and beat them well. And Tarindra Ratwat just not in form on the day. Unfortunately, I think he was trying to work out a better combination with his new halfback partner, and that didn't do well for him at all. Completely overshadowed in the number 10 jersey by the Thomian captain Devin Jayasinghe, who had an outstanding game. And these two guys look like they will be fighting it out for a slot, the starting slot in the under 20 Sri Lanka team when that comes to pass at the end of the season. So a fantastic win for St. Thomas's, really puts a shot in the arm for Thomian rugby. And watch out for the rest of the A Division teams who thought this was just going to be another easy trophy game for them. Watch out to St. Peter's, St. Joseph's, Royal College, all who need to play these guys in the lead up to their trophy games as well. I think they will be looking over their shoulder at this blue and black jersey, the outfit in the next couple of weeks to come. So that's our update for the third week and the fourth week of the senior A Division schools, and of course Canon RS Desaram Trophy. We'll be back with our update for the fourth week very shortly. So keep it tuned to www.TheScore.lk, where you can watch most of our games that are being streamed live to the comfort of your living rooms or your offices or wherever it is, or even your mobile phones. If you're going in the bus, you can still watch us on TheScore.lk. So keep it locked. We'll be back.